Hey everyone, this is weather forecaster Liam, and we have a lot going on in today's video. First, Tropical Storm Karen could be the next major storm for the US. We'll take a look at its very odd track and model guidance in a bit. And it is no longer summer. Fall is now here, but not everyone is going to be feeling fall-like temperatures. But some states are, and in fact, it's going to be feeling a lot like winter in the Northwest, where there could be, yes, a snowstorm this weekend. Some areas will be seeing double-digit snowfall totals. Going to have all of this and more coming up on TRA Weather. Okay, let's start out in the Atlantic, where we still have some tropical activity going on. We have one hurricane and one tropical storm. Let's start out with Category 4 Hurricane Lorenzo. Right now, it's moving west by northwest at a good pace of 13 miles an hour and has 130 mile per hour sustained winds. That makes it a Category 4 hurricane. But thankfully, Lorenzo isn't going to get even close to making landfall in the US. But in about a week or so, the Azores may have an encounter with Lorenzo. But Lorenzo is expected to weaken a little, so hopefully the impacts will be limited. Now to Tropical Storm Karen. Karen is moving north by northeast at 14 miles an hour and has maximum sustained winds of 45 miles an hour. And you can see here, Karen has a very, very odd track. It's expected to do a loop and start turning west by Saturday or Sunday. And the reason why it is making this loop and going in the other direction is because there are two block and high pressure systems in the Atlantic and are going to meet up and block Karen's path for going any further to the north. But when it does make that loop turn to the west, it could eventually make its way to the US. But a very good sign you see in this National Hurricane Center graph is it does not become a hurricane within the next 5 days due to some very high wind shear that is stopping any further development and possibly will even destroy Karen before it even gets close to the US. But that's the National Hurricane Center cone. But what are the other models saying? Well, the main hurricane forecast track models are in actually very good agreement on Karen, about the same track as the National Hurricane Center's cone was, still taking that loop and moving west. So the CMC model tracks are a little different. And remember, this and the next track I'm about to show you are all from the same model, just different runs of that model. And the CMC model is, believe it or not, in a better agreement than it was yesterday, though still a lot to work out. But the GFS is probably the best organized out of all the models, though it really expects that wind shear to come into play and totally tear apart Karen, keeping Karen at most above 1,000 millibars all the way through. But this is days, even weeks out. This forecast could change. So myself and everyone on the eastern half of the United States with a coastline should keep a very close eye on Karen. Okay, here's the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook from the Climate Prediction Center. And this has been the exact same for about 2 weeks now, except the chances of it being above average and below average have even gotten higher, near 90%, with that bullseye of above average temperature chances in the southeast, mainly hovering over Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, in the areas of below average temperature chances over the states of Montana, Idaho, Oregon, and Washington State. And now here's the 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook, and it looks about the same, with the south and east seeing above average temperatures, in the west and north seeing below average temperatures. Now here's your high temperatures for the next 3 days. Here is Friday's high temperatures, a slight cool down than we saw last time, but not by much, with a few less 80s and 90s. Now only the 90s remain in parts of the southwest, south, and southeast portions of the United States. Now to Saturday, where that heat is still in about the exact same spots as before, but the north and northwest are feeling those below average temperatures in the 50s, 40s, and even 30s. And remember, these are high temperatures, so really cold up there. Now for Sunday, where the warmth is still there and has crept up a little further to the north, but the northwest cold temperatures still remain, and we will be having some moisture to work with up there in the northwest. So, with that moisture and the cold temperatures, we will be talking about some snow, and not just snow, a possible snowstorm. So here's the future radar forecast from the GFS model, and the time will be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. But this time, the time will be Pacific time instead of Eastern time. And right now, it's 11 a.m. Friday morning, and we are seeing actually some snow on this map, mainly only in the mountains of Washington State and Montana, and the rest of the areas are getting rain. Now we go to 5 p.m. Friday in the afternoon into the evening hours. The snow is a little more widespread. We're starting to get that moisture coming in from actually the southeast, and that cold temperatures are coming in from the northwest. So they're going to meet up, and this is going to cause this snow event. Now we're to 11 p.m. Friday night, and where that moisture is really starting to kick in. Still seeing a lot of green on this map, and you will see this at first, but trust me, it will turn to snow. Now to Saturday morning, right before noon, and you can see a much wider area of moisture and also a much wider area of snowfall. Snowfall away from California, Nevada, Idaho, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington State, and Montana. Now we go to Saturday evening, and we are seeing some incredibly heavy snowfall in northeastern Montana and maybe even getting into northwestern North Dakota. Also some heavier snowfall in the mountains of Idaho. Now we go to Saturday night. We are seeing still a lot of snowfall in these same areas. Maybe not quite as heavy as before, but still definitely widespread. And mainly, this will be a rain event for you for North Dakota, but you could squeeze in a few snowflakes here or there in the northwestern and western parts of North Dakota. And now to Sunday night, where we really are starting to see a decrease in some snow showers. Still getting those in Montana, still in parts of Idaho, Washington State, Oregon, and California, but not as numerous as they once were. Now we go to Monday morning. Still dealing with about the same picture, and one more frame ahead to Monday night, where hopefully by this time all of the rain and snow has finally moved out of these areas. But how much snow could we exactly expect for these areas? Well, according to the GFS model, some areas in Montana could be seeing 2 to maybe even 3 feet of snow in the mountains. That's an incredibly huge amount of snow. And we usually don't see this amount of snow for until late October, and our average first snowfall isn't until mid-October. So this is really early and quite a bit of snow. And Montana isn't the only place that is getting this widespread snow. Idaho, Wyoming, Oregon, Washington State, you're still getting some pretty good totals of snow too, possibly in some areas reaching a foot to maybe even 2 feet of snow. But those will mainly be isolated in the mountains. And now we go to the GDPS model, which is the Canadian model. The Canadian model does take the snowfall totals back just a little bit, but not too much, really keeping those high totals still in the mountains. And look at that, just outside of Montana into the border into Canada, it says 75 inches of snow. That is incredible. I don't think we're going to get that much snow, but you can expect 2 to maybe even 3 feet of snow from this event. Okay, here's about the storm. Snowfall will be very high. Again, mainly isolated into those mountainous regions. If you are not very high up in the mountains, you can expect anywhere between 6 to a foot of snow, maybe a little more, but it'll mainly be around that much. And the snowfall rate will also be very high. You could have snowfall rate of 3 to 4 inches, possibly within an hour, with those heavier bands. Cold temperatures will be medium. The temperatures aren't going to be totally cold. You mainly have temperatures in the upper 20s to low 20s. Some teens are possible, but that'll mainly be into Tuesday and Wednesday. Wind will be high. In fact, there's already some high wind warnings out for the mountains of Montana, so we have to keep an eye on that. Ice is low. This just isn't an ice event. By I mean ice, I mean sleet or freezing rain accumulation. Not going to see any of that. And power outages, I am expecting to be high. And the info for this storm is for Friday through Monday. The highest threat is snowfall, and the lowest threat is ice. If I get any additional information on this event, I will keep you all updated and informed on my Twitter page at TRA Weather. Hey, thanks for watching my video. If you haven't already, like and share this and subscribe to my channel TRA Weather. Thank you. See you next time.